July 19th, 2018. The sky was overcast, like it so often is over Tacoma, Washington. I was walking across a bridge of glass, a bridge that spans the Interstate 705 freeway, when I noticed something stuck to the fence on one side of the bridge. For one, there was a bouquet of purple carnations. Beside it was a note, a piece of paper torn from a notebook. And beside that, a newspaper clipping glued to a yellow page that read, "Rest in peace." It had my attention. First, I read the newspaper clipping. Woman jumps from overpass, is hit by car, and dies. By Stacia Glenn. A woman died early Tuesday after jumping from the bridge of glass onto Interstate 705 in downtown Tacoma. The woman has not been identified. Troopers were called at about 11:30 p.m. to southbound I-705 near 21st Street after a vehicle hit the woman's body. The driver did not stop. Troopers believe the driver might have been unaware of hitting the body. Items, possibly belonging to the woman, were found on the bridge. I-705 was closed for about 2 hours and reopened about 2 a.m. The investigation is continuing. At the bottom of the newspaper clipping was a date, Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. Only a day before. Next I read the note. "We never met you, and we will never know why you departed, but you are still a human being who mattered. May your weary soul finally be at rest." It was signed only with a heart. I stood there for a while, reading it all 2-3 times over. I felt dejected. I may not have known this woman, but reading all this brought a pain to my chest. I tried to take myself back, 2 nights before, to try and imagine this mystery woman standing alone on this empty bridge, leaned against the railing and staring out at the headlights passing underneath. What were you doing that night? I was at home, lying in bed. Probably messing with my phone. I felt guilty for some reason, as if there was anything I could have done to save her. Something else I wondered about? Who left these here? I imagined someone skimming the newspaper that morning, and having this article catch their attention. Seven sentences, hidden underneath a maze of different stories. Maybe they knew it was a story that few would see. Something that would be read and then forgotten. They wanted it to be known that this nameless woman was a human being that mattered. Someone with stories to be told, and a life to be lived. Someone broken enough to think that jumping off that bridge would end whatever pain she was feeling. I couldn't get it out of my head. I needed to know who she was. So I did some searching online. There weren't any clues in the article that could lead to anything helpful. So I figured other news outlets could provide some more information. Maybe another article could give me something to go off of. But there were no other articles. At least, nothing I could find. It was a small story. People die all the time. I found an article that someone shared on Facebook, but it was the exact same article that I found on the bridge. I was starting to think that maybe I never would find out who she was. I scrolled through the comments out of curiosity. Some people were empathetic, saying it was sad and that they feel sorry for her, Some wondered how someone could hit a body and not notice, and some added that they didn't feel sorry for her and that it was a selfish act. But one person by the name of Jonathan commented, "Her name is Gina O'Hearn, also known as my mother." It's not easy reading through the comments, as she was my mother. We lost contact with her Monday, and we're still looking Tuesday when the call came in that she had been identified by fingerprint. I wasn't sure if any of that was true, but this may have actually been her son. So I tried to get in contact with him. But of course I was a stranger, and he never replied. Even still, this was a lead. I found his aunt, Gina's sister, and was able to get in contact with her. We exchanged messages, questions were asked and answered, and I was invited to Gina's celebration of life.
We could feel the great love outpouring. It was really important. We've never been through anything like this, so again, it meant a great deal. Gina Ray Cosner O'Hearn was born in Bremerton, Washington, January 9th, 1964 at Harrison Hospital. It was the only hospital in the entire Kitsap County, so anyway. Gina was a very sweet child, very smart and very witty.
Me and Gina were there and stuff, and she mentioned the sports. We were talking about different sports, and I said, "Well, have you ever played hockey inside the house?" She goes, "No, I've done that. You know, how do you play hockey inside the house?"
We went to our first Seahawks game. It was great. And of course, we were the only Seahawks fans there, pretty much. So we were getting a lot of trash talk too. And Mom would always respond.
One of my best memories was coming back from the river with her and listening to one of the Nelly songs, and she was dancing away in the driver's seat. I still can't. It's in my brain, but I can't put it into words.
Make sure I've got lots of tissues. It's gonna be a struggle to get through, so I apologize.
Gosh, Mom, I think I was kind of a little ugly duckling. I'm like, no. So I ran into the living room, pulled out this picture of her, the one hair of her in high school, and said, "But look, what a beautiful swan you are. You're my beautiful swan." After that, she told everybody, "My mom thinks I'm a beautiful swan."
Reflect anything else, the ball flew up, hits this one friend, and it goes flying across the room and just breaks all over the place. We're looking at each other. I started laughing. Gina's crying.
They still, of course, didn't win, but Mom had her 12th man flag, and she was holding that up, and you're going crazy the whole game, and then at the end of the game, you realize that she had it upside down the whole time. So that was kind of funny.
It was a great time, and I loved having her around. I did live the closest to her out of all the siblings, and I was there whenever I could be, as I had work. But seeing her on Wednesday before everything happened, as I was the last family member to be there, it's just hard.
No matter how hard or how high you throw that ball, you'll bounce back and things will be good. The Lord says, "I know my children." Sorry. "They will run to me, and I'll wrap my arms around them. And there will be joy and happiness, no more sorrow, no more pain."
But not hearing her voice again is going to be one of the hardest things. She had the sweetest voice, and I just keep listening to the last voicemail that she sent me, just so I can hear her voice. You missed my birthday. You never missed my birthdays. You had so much to live for. I will do my best.
I was in a room full of people I had never met before. I had no attachment to them. But during these speeches, I was on the verge of tears. Just listening to the way they spoke about her. I felt like I lost her too.
And thank you again, all of you, for coming. It really means a great deal to Gina's family, and especially me, her mom.
I think talking about Gina brought her back in a way, if only for a moment. I was getting to know her, and now, well, she's gone.
Gina Ranger, Gina Sparks, Gina O'Hearn. She'd been married a few times.
She was an artsy person. She liked doing all kinds of, anything with glitter mainly. If you find glitter, she was there. Or you'd end up covered in it somehow.
She had the best laugh. She was like my best friend. We would have so much fun together. We'd go out and have some drinks or go shopping, do artwork together. She was very creative. She had this entire craft room. And you'd open the door, you couldn't even get in there.
She's extremely artistic. She has so much talent. But after her husband Kevin died, she just went into the spiral of depression and anxiety. And she became this person we didn't even know anymore. And she went through hundreds of thousands of dollars. She lost everything. And then we tried to send her money and take care of her and try to do things, and she would just spend it on alcohol or drugs.
She had held on, was doing pretty good and whatnot for a while after his death. I mean, she had her time of grieving very hard, but I would say that the last 8 to 12 months of her life, she spun downhill real quick.
When I was younger, she was my protector and my mentor and my guardian, and but as I got older and she started having problems, you would have thought I was the older sister taking care of her.
So she was my beautiful swan, and mostly she just changed, turned.
She had just come out of a detox thing through the state. Not really sure how that went, but she didn't have her opiates, so she went to alcohol, which, I mean, I'm sure anybody with that kind of pain would need something to do it. But so far, what has been told is that she was released from Tacoma County on DUI. Then she proceeded to go to find her car. I'm assuming that because she needed her medications. She had a bunch of medications in the car. Her ID was in the car. Her phone was in the car. I know because of her love of glass, and she had always wanted to go to the Museum of Glass. I feel like that's where she migrated to.
The shock of it was unbelievable. And to be told how she did the suicide, it was, nobody can understand.
When we were trying to find her, I never thought that it never went through my mind at all. If anything, I thought maybe someone else had hurt her or something like that. Never thought that she would do that. But it's hard to understand, because the worst part is thinking of what happened, what was going on in her head before she jumped, and that just kills me.
It kind of felt like she was more of a nuisance, and I should have realized how hurt and how sick she really was. And it's like you have all these regrets that you wish you would have known that something like this was going to happen, and just try to fix everything and make it better, and you just can't.
There's a quote that goes like, "Suicide doesn't end the pain, it only passes it on." Mm-hmm. You agree with that?
Yes.
How do you feel?
It doesn't seem real. Doesn't seem like it really did happen. I keep waiting for a text or a phone call.
I have my ups and downs. I cry a lot sometimes, and other times I'm strong, but as the oldest I have to be. But
when it first happened, I'm not gonna lie, I was crying like a little baby. But afterwards, after getting that initial cry out, I mean, every now and again I'll kind of tear up, but it's one of those things that honestly to me gets better the less I hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. I honestly don't. Even when it's with my sisters and stuff, we'll say little things here and there, but...
People told me that when you lose a child, it's the worst thing you go through in the right. A piece of me is gone.
I have a lot of emotions. I'm angry, I'm very hurt, I'm sad.
I just miss her. I just wish you were here. If anyone's ever thinking about suicide, I mean, don't think that people don't love you and that it's going to be easy when you're gone, because it's going to make it a million times worse for people. For the people left behind, especially with no note or anything, so we're left with not just pain, but lots of questions that'll never be answered.
After hearing them tell her stories, it sounded like, in a way, Gina died from heartbreak. After her husband died of brain cancer, she seemed to go into a deep depression. That, coupled with the various medical issues she had, I could see why she became reliant on painkillers. And when she no longer had those, alcohol.
Will you please call me? All right, thank you. I'm so sorry. God, I don't know what to do. It's been a fucked month. Okay, I love you. Bye.
I can't pretend to know how she might have felt. To be constantly in pain both physically and emotionally. But I know she had a lot to offer the world. Or at the very least, her family. I got what I wanted. This nameless woman now had a name to me. But Gina's death was only half of what affected me so much. It turned out that, through a friend, they knew who put those notes up on the bridge. You know who put them up there?
We found out who put them up there. It's a friend, Rachel. She actually found out that it was her friend that put everything up there.
I never thought I would have been able to find out who they were, but Jessica got me in contact with her, and, well, her name is Maria, and she's a lot closer than I thought.
We had just moved in the day before, and it was late into the night. It was probably like maybe 3 in the morning when we kept hearing sirens and just a lot of activity going on. And we went to bed, and then the next day around middle of the day, my daughter messaged me and she said, "Mom, I found an article." She's like, "I know what happened last night." And she showed me the article, and it said that a woman had jumped from the bridge. I don't know, I felt some kind of a void, and I don't know, something about the whole situation just called out to me. And I was just like, I felt, saddened. I was just like, what could have led her to that? She had no name. It didn't give her a name. It just said a woman, and it gave her age, but it never mentioned her name. And I'm like, everyone in this world has a name. Everyone has a story. So I told my daughter, I said, how about we go leave some flowers? When we were getting ready to leave, to go place the flowers, I wrote out a note. We went up to the bridge. We put the note up and the flowers. And we stayed there silently for a little while, just kind of contemplating things. And we came home. Didn't really think much of it. We felt, even just with that small reverence that we paid her, we felt it, we felt a sort of a peace for it. And we just kept, hoping that they would find her family. We wrote, "We never met you. We will never know why you departed, but you were still a human being and who mattered. May your weary soul finally be at rest."
And you didn't sign it or anything, you just left the heart.
Yeah.
Why did you sign it?
Because I don't know, I didn't feel the need to sign it. I just felt that it was almost an echoed sentiment, and it felt like even anybody who read it and would know the story would echo the same sentiment. So I felt like it was just a comforting thought that I was putting out into the universe. Yeah. And I didn't feel that I needed a signature. I just wanted to embrace the family from a distance and just, and her. And just, I don't know, just acknowledge her.
So it wasn't a young couple after all. It was a mother and her daughter. I explained to her what I had found out, who Gina was and what happened that night outside her window. She deserved to know more than I did. There's a quote that I like, and it goes like, "Suicide doesn't end the pain, it only passes it on." Do you agree with that?
I do. I do, because not only with what happened to Gina, but when I was in the service, I lost a friend to suicide. And I saw how her grief just carried over to the rest of our unit. She left us 8 years ago, and every time her anniversary of her passing rolls around, it still feels like it just happened. We, as not just a country, but as a world, need to find a way to embrace each other and stop always trying to put each other into categories and all these other things, and be human, get raw, and say hi to that stranger on the street, because you don't know if that hello is going to save their life. There's people that feel like they go around this world unheard of, invisible, unseen, and you just stopping and smiling at someone and saying good morning could change your world. And so I agree. I totally agree.
The fact that someone cared enough about someone they had never met to tie the note and the article and the flowers to the bridge out of compassion, that's something that gives me faith in humanity. And as for Gina, I guess one could say that her name and her story is just one of many. According to the World Health Organization, about 1 million people commit suicide every year. That's 1 death every 40 seconds, 3,000 every day. And this was just one of them. Mental illness is a huge problem in the world, but with over 7 billion people on this planet, how can one really help? A lot of the time, it's something that goes unnoticed, something that affects many of the people we walk by every day. If it's something that affects you, talk to someone. It doesn't even have to be a counselor, just please talk to someone. And if you know someone that you think is affected by it, ask them about it, and really listen to what they have to say. Start with your family and your friends. This is a worldwide issue, but I think maybe instead of trying to save the world, we can start by helping those closest to us.